Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Been a while for the Ghostbusters. Been a while for the franchise, and they're back, baby. With sorry, just needed to give out the sigh because that's kind of how I feel about the movie. But with Jason Reitman at the helm, who is experienced in these like young adult type movies. And did you like the original Ghostbusters? You a fan?
Yeah, so notably Reitman, obviously the son of Ivan Reitman, the director of the original Ghostbusters. Yeah, so like I didn't really see it as a kid. There's two things, 80s era stuff that I didn't really like have a relationship to as a kid. It was Back to the Future and Ghostbusters because I was raised on Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. That was my shit. So I don't think I even saw Ghostbusters until I like, went to college, honestly. So yeah, it wasn't a thing that I picked up, but honestly, it's not really a kids movie in the first place.
Nah.
But yeah, I didn't have much of a relationship with Ghostbusters.
Yeah, which is actually it's really funny to me because I feel like Ghostbusters, at least recently, it's been 32 years since the Ghostbusters movie was released. Has it now kind of become a kids movie? And I don't know if that's
Well,
like,
certainly with this one.
well, yes, with this one, but I think even the original, like, I know people who have shown their children under like 10 years old the original Ghostbusters, and there's a lot of like sexual innuendo and just like lewd stuff in that.
Yeah, the humor in general is more for adults.
Absolutely. And so, uh, so I think the movie makes a lot of sense for the direction it went in. This really, I think, like we both premise is a young adult movie at its core, but it just I'm kind of baffled at how it got here. I guess it's probably the commercial viability of like selling Slimer toys or like muffin or was it the Marshmallow Man toys and stuff like
Right.
that. The costumes for Halloween, 80s children becoming parents who are giving their kids this nostalgia. But I did not really need a Ghostbusters movie in my life. I'm a fan to an extent. I like the original movie, the 1984 one. So we got this. Did you like Ghostbusters Afterlife, Dave?
I was entertained by it. I don't think it's like impressive. I think it's really safe
Mm-hmm.
and kind of frustrating because it's doing a lot of things that we've come to recognize from the revitalization of franchises. And I should say, I guess, Blockbuster, but not even like Ghostbusters is amazing Blockbuster. But as you say, it's become a franchise in its own right. And that's just this overwhelming nod to nostalgia and fan service. Think, of course, of The Force Awakens and Jurassic World. I think are the best examples that also were complete successes, to be clear, at least from a business standpoint. And I guess, big picture, seeing Ghostbusters, we'll just kind of run it back with some kids. I mean, okay, fine. It's awfully weird to see this as like the response to what happened with Ghostbusters 2016, which was, of course, the uh, all-female iteration reboot, as it were, that had a lot of ridiculous backlash and fan entitlement going on, leading into a lot of misogyny levied at the actors and racism levied at Leslie Jones. In general, just an example of our current culture war. So,
Totally had blocked that out. I can't believe I missed that at the top. I totally
Yeah.
blocked that movie out.
So and not the movie was that great, but I think comedically it actually had a lot more to do with the original DNA anyway. But I said it was surprising. It's not surprising. They just completely went back. Let's just do exactly what the fans want and do the old thing again, because this is exactly what happened with Rise of Skywalker after the Last Jedi. Just capitulating to the lowest common denominator. And I guess the question remains, like, is Ghostbusters a sacred cow that needs this kind of reverence in the first place?
No, of course not. It's not. And it really is, I think, like, you've mentioned this is a total nostalgia play, and it's just really glomming money from these 80s babies who are like, man, Ghostbusters growing up, my parents loved it, I watched it all the time, wore the suits for Halloween,
You got
now my
Finn
kids wear
Wolfhard
the
in here,
suits.
man. We already know to expect this from him with Stranger Things.
Yeah, like it just there's nothing unique or like really outstanding about this movie. Like you mentioned, some parts are entertaining. I really liked the scene where they're chasing Muncher. You know, it's the first time they're really like busting a ghost, I guess, using the
Mm.
proton pack, driving the car around. Thought that was pretty good. I really liked some of the ending stuff. I actually thought the opening was pretty interesting too. You know, you kind of
Mhm.
have like the out of frame old man. Obviously, the trying to bust this ghost goes wrong. Okay, this looks pretty good. There's so much BS in the middle, dude. That like I just was like, we could have chopped so much of this out. Um, Also, just like it just is like such a like weird way to rope Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray and man, I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Um,
Yeah,
the other original
what's his name? Eddie.
Ghostbuster. Eddie Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson.
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
All respect to Ernie Hudson out there. Just like such a weird way to like rope them in that like you know she gets one phone call, she calls a Ghostbuster, and Dan Aykroyd's like, yeah, he didn't help us out, and he thought the apocalypse was happening, and we didn't listen to him. And it's like, really, like you guys are like these Ghostbusting people, and you couldn't believe that like this like crazy ghost was coming. Like I don't know, feels like it's like a strange stretch there to me. I
Yeah.
just was kind of like, didn't really buy that. But I also I left walked away thinking McKenna Grace.
Mm.
I thought she was pretty good for you know for a kid. Obviously, we're grading on the kid scale here, but I really liked her performance. Finn Wolfhard was kind of like whatever. Did not like podcasts.
Mhm.
I just did not find him fun. But the little baby marshmallows, marshmallow men were pretty funny. By far
That
my
was
favorite part.
hilarious. I
So,
love that. I was actually like legitimately laughing when the Marshmallow Men were like
oh,
started the torment Paul Rudd and all that, and then they come back from
amazing,
the car. That was really funny.
amazing! At the emptiest Walmart I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Empty.
yeah. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere, right? The podcast character, I did laugh at like his stupid jokes a fair amount. It's kind of weird that like his name is literally podcast though.
Yeah,
You know, I don't
they
know. I
couldn't
mean,
give
and
him
they
a
shot this in 2019, pre-pandemic,
yeah.
but I guess that read on things is perhaps even a little dated. Um, but yeah, like the whole like nostalgia play, right? It's like it's so like in your face, and not necessarily that it's not offensive. It's just kind of callous. Like they're literally driving up the mountain in El Camino, sitting in the back. No one has fucking El Camino anymore, man. They're going to a drive-in diner like a Sonic, but it's not a Sonic. It's like an original like
Spinners.
mom and pop diner with skating waiters. Like, what? Are you serious? You
It's
know,
called Spinners, and then the P gets shot by the proton torpedo, so then it's Sinners. I was like, oh
good stuff.
yeah. You know they said shit a lot in this movie, which I was like, for a kids movie or for a young adult movie, I was like, huh. Wonder if this is. I wonder how many they're allowed to say first of all before like the rating goes up.
I
I don't
believe it
know.
was PG
Surprised me.
13, right?
I
Like,
think so,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I
it'd
just
have to be
noticed it.
because they nod to sex and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. Third base, and also Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd just going at it as possessed people. Pretty interesting.
yeah,
What'd
that's
you think about
honestly
them?
that's where the movie I think like basically falls off. Right, like the end is kind of annoying. It's like, you know who I was not invested in? Gozer coming back. Don't give a fuck.
Well, right. So this is a pure sequel to the original too. You really had to bring Gozer back, bro. Like, there's no other evil ghosts to fight. It's just Gozer all the time. Shout out Olivia Wilde, but Gozer.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like if you had like maybe stripped down Ghostbusters, all on nostalgia, vibes, 80s, but you also kept it like smaller scale, just busting some ghost, having some coming of age stuff going on in the small town. My mom might meet someone too. That would have been great. That's totally cool, you know? We didn't need this whole like mythology about Gozer in the mountain and you know the dude who built the town who's referenced in the original movie who's like sleeping in the coffin, right? Like
Oh yeah.
that was just like levels beyond. We don't need that, right?
Well,
Because
wasn't he
it's
J.K. Simmons too?
yes, that's who it was. I was
So
gonna say
random.
Terrence Stamp from Last Night in Soho. Yeah, it was JK. Like we didn't need any of that. It was because in the process you just kind of like short shrift everyone in the supporting role because you just stop having any character development because you have to service this annoying plot and finish it off. Like I didn't need Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon to get possessed. It would have been cooler. I feel like if they just kind of have a meet cute and a romance and lose track of their kids who are busting ghosts. I don't know, not to like rewrite the movie, but like I guess it's kind of safe, like you said, right? Let's just get all these ghosts and demon dogs and shit going on and sell some toys. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty formulaic. I mean, I literally had a kid in the theater when Muncher, they first see him go, "Oh, it's Slimer," and then obviously it wasn't, and the kid's like, "Slimer looks weird." Like literally, a kid was exclaiming this in the theater, and it's like, yeah, they're just taking all the beats. So they're like, "Oh, I can sell a Muncher toy now." Oh, instead of a big marshmallow man, look at all these little marshmallow men that now you can buy your kids for Christmas
Right.
this year. It's just very commercial.
Well,
It's
and right, and again, like I said, similar to Jurassic World, similar to Force Awakens, and it sets up a very similar problem because you bring back the OG cast that is very popular and beloved by all the Ghostbusters fans, and rightfully so. And we go back at the end, New York City, reopen the shop, So now what? You're gonna make a sequel to this without them? Well, you probably should plan for the post Aykroyd, Hudson, and Murray Ghostbusters, right? But they won't because they didn't set it up that way, because they feel like they needed them to. We needed to do the fan service, right? Harold Ramis coming back via uh not mocap, what is it? Just
Ghost.
yeah,
Uh,
just
um,
a posthumous appearance the way, Grand Admiral
yeah,
Tarkin and Princess Leia
CGI.
returned. Yeah, CGI appearance. On one hand, I feel like it does a decent job of like trying to tug on heartstrings and all that. Like I feel like that's actually paid off in a decent way. But I think creatively down the line, you're just kind of writing yourself into corners, or even worse, perhaps like Force Awakens, just writing yourself until you stop writing and there was nothing at the end. You this is blank. The next movie is
Mhm.
completely blank. So again, I don't have a lot of reverence for Ghostbusters, so it's not like this offensive thing to me, of course. But on the other hand, this did exceed box office expectations and probably will continue to do well into the Thanksgiving week. So I
My
think
theater.
they're thinking about the sequel, and in a sense, I guess give Sony some credit because they are trying to do the reboot game hardcore, and they are finding some success. Right? Bad Boys for Life, huge hit. Jumanji, two of them, huge hits. Men in Black International, Charlie's Angels, not huge hits. But it seems like Ghostbusters Afterlife is leaning towards the hit, so they got what they wanted.
Yeah, no, I mean, credit to Sony. They definitely pulled this off. My theater was packed. I assume it will continue to be packed, like you said, into Thanksgiving. Two
Oh,
things.
so sorry. Did you go during the day? Is that why you
I
had some
did.
kids there? Yeah.
I did go during the day.
Anytime I think kids are even in play for going to the movie and going to, I go at night.
Yeah, I mean, it was a zoo. They were running all around, but you know what? It was nice because they actually were like really into it, and so it
That's
made it a
nice.
little bit more.
Yeah.
If it had just been me, oh boy, I might have just been like on my phone the whole time. Unfortunately, um, just two quick thoughts. First of all, when Gozer slash Olivia Wilde like throws back the original Ghostbusters and they hit the car, I thought I would like that would have killed them. Like, dude, they're so old at this point. That was really, I was like, oh, like, dang, and
Good
like
point.
clear body doubles, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, Second thought in all this is really just do like Murray and Hudson and Aykroyd really want to come back and keep doing this? I like Aykroyd, I could see, but Bill Murray, he
Right.
really wants to come back and do this.
And that was the thing too, because previous attempts to make a Ghostbusters 3 didn't happen because they couldn't get everyone back. I think Murray in particular didn't want to come back, right?
Mhm.
And Some of them did cameos in Ghostbusters 2016, but they weren't playing their characters. Like, yeah, I doubt it. Honestly, I really do. Unless you're like throwing a lot of money at them, but like eventually they're gonna stop working. You'd think, right? I don't know. Harrison Ford keeps doing shit, so maybe they'll do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Dan
get.
Aykroyd's not like super busy, I guess. Bill Murray definitely has a lot more choice in his work.
Yeah, I guess Murray maybe just being like they come back to the shop and he like drops a few lines, kind of like he did in French Dispatch type of role. I could see
Right.
potentially. Yeah, I don't know.
You even had Sigourney Weaver in the credits scene too, coming back also in
Yeah,
play.
so very interesting. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Good for them. Good for them.